2:30ish, he left to go get our son because he gets out at 3:10.
Right.
So he had to leave me. That was fine. As long as I was in the room, I was okay. So he left, and I'm crying, I'm, holding my leg. I'm playing with this, trying to get it as high as I can. And at one point I screamed, please, is there anybody going to come? Is there a doctor who's going to come?
Right.
And a lady, and I don't remember her face. She was a little heavy set because my eyes were swollen, and she said, in a second. Somebody will be there in a second. So I was like, okay, I'm doing that still. And an hour, it was almost 2 hours later, like a total of 2 hours. It was 3:33, because then that's when the whole cell phone thing started. I started calling my husband, because that's immediately, it was like after this whole issue. So I know it was around 3:33. The doctor came in, or the PA came in. She didn't tell me who she was. She just walked in and she said, so, tell me why you're here. And still crying, still screaming, and I'm like, I'm here, my back, my leg, just help me. You need to calm down, I need to talk to you. I can't calm down, I'm in pain, I've been sitting here for over an hour, I need your help, And, well, if you're going to talk to me, you need to calm down. And, of course, I'm like, I can't, I didn't move the whole time, I was in this one position, and she just kind of like, it was really kind of rude, and eventually she said, well, if you're going to talk to me, you need to calm down.
All right. And what were you thinking when she was saying this to you?
Like, if I wasn't screaming in pain, my mouth would have been open, just like,
right.
I was like, really, I was just kind of shocked.
Yeah.
And that she was doing this like banter back and forth of like a power trip, like, you need to listen to me and just,
Wow.
And I just thought maybe if I wasn't crying, I guess that would be better.
Right.
But the final thing for her was, of course, as I screamed, I said, I can't stop, I can't calm down, I'm in fucking pain.
Right.
And she just stopped, turned around, she said, call security, she's being discharged. And that was it.
And so while you were in pain, they didn't give you any medication?
No. I was never treated.
What were you hoping they would give? Was it something you need, like pain medication? Or could it have been that simple? Or
I'm on medication.
Right.
I'm already on pain medication during the day.
Right.
So when I get to the point of going to the hospital, they gotta really fix me, like, bad. It's bad.
Yeah, right.
They do the 1 to 10 pain scale. I'm shooting through the roof at like 15. Yeah. It's horrendous.
Right.
When I'm there. So
they literally. So they say you're leaving. What do they end up doing with you?
So I still was like just a shock. So I'm still crying. I'm thinking, what's going on? And when she said that, I happen to have my cell phone, so I'm doing one of these things, trying to call them, and I'm screaming. I'm like, they're going to kick me out. There's something about security. And the cop came around, and he said, Ms. Zadcock, you need to hang the phone up. I'm like, I'm on the phone with my husband, and he said, you need to hang the phone up. You're being asked to leave. So I hung up on my husband. He said, you need to get up, get dressed, and you need to go. And I screamed. I said, I can't get up, I can't move, I can't get dressed by myself. He said it again. You need to get up, you need to get dressed, you're being asked to leave, you're discharged.
Oh my God.
And I said, you are physically going to have to get me up off this bed and out of the hospital. I cannot move without assistance. I couldn't. There was, and so, sorry. It's just like so, it was embarrassing. The whole thing is just awful. It's just so embarrassing. But anyway, so he walks away. I guess there were 2 cops, and because there was another guy in a black suit or outfit. The one walks away, and he comes back, and he says, well, how long is your husband going to be? And, and they said, where is he? So he's picking up my 5-year-old, should be here pretty soon. And he said, call him, what's his number? And so I tried to call him. And, they're telling me they're kicking me out because I'm crying. I don't know, I guess that's what it is. You need to come get me. And the officer then said, is that your husband? Can I talk to him? And so then he talked, briefly to my husband.
Right.
He made me hang up on him. Then I said, don't I have any rights? And he said, well, you can file a complaint. And I said, well, who do I do that with? And he said, you can do it with personnel. And at one point I said to him, do you think because the lady said something about me being aggressive. And I asked the officer, I said, do you think I'm aggressive? I said, because how I am right now is how I was with her. And you and I are fine. We're communicating just fine. And I didn't understand. He said, well, once I get called in, I can't do anything
Was he a police officer or security?
I thought he was
Baltimore County Police.
okay.
Oh, really?
I think he was, and
Yeah,
I don't know his
yeah.
name. I didn't.
So did they charge you with anything?
No, he's just
Did you get his name?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that's cool.
he I just lost my
Okay.
train of thought.
It's okay. Take your time.
I don't even remember what I was just saying.
Well, you were saying how you were talking to the police officer, and he was saying,
Oh,
you know,
right.
and he said once he got called in, he couldn't.
And he said I could complain to the hospital. So, as I sat there, and I knew my husband's coming, and I couldn't talk to the surgeon, I thought, well, I might as well call, make him complain. I'm still screaming. I called 411 on my phone. I got through to the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and they connected me to a department. I said, I need to make him complain. I'm being kicked out right now. And as I was on the phone with a woman who said, what's going on? I said, I'm being kicked out of your hospital right now, and I don't know what to do because I really need help. And she's, what? They can't do that? The officer turned around and he said, you need to hang the phone up. And I said, but you just said I can make a complaint. You said I have the right to do this. He said, that was a courtesy that I told you that then. You need to wait till you're off the property. So I'm on the phone. He said, I'm telling you, you need to hang up. And I said to the woman, I said, I said something about, the officer's going to make me hang up on you. And I said, officer, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Just tell me yes or no. Am I supposed to hang up? And he said, hang the phone up. So because I don't want to, I don't want to go out in handcuffs. My 5-year-old's coming. So I hung up on that. And then, I was afraid to call him. So at one point then I called my surgeon again. And so I'm like calling him, trying not to let the guy see me call because I'm afraid he's going to arrest me or take my phone. I didn't even know don't know my rights at that point.
Right.
And so then he asked me though too. He said, "Is there going to be a problem with your husband?" And I said, "My husband he's coming with our 5-year-old. There's not going to be a problem." He said, "Well, because if there is, he's going to go out in handcuffs." And so of course this is it just kind of progressed. And when you're stressed, that the pain
Yeah,
gets
sure.
worse, and it's everything was just horrendous.
Yeah.
So I then asked, am I going to be wheeled out because I can't walk? Because he wheeled me in. He got the wheelchair at the car and brought me in. And I said, I don't have my cane. I can't get out. And he said, well, your husband's going to have to wheel you out. Okay. So my husband got there. And then he talked to him outside the curtain. I don't know what he said, but my husband came in. And the officer said, she needs to get dressed and get out. And I don't remember him saying it word by word, but he had to leave the curtain open, I guess, for his safety or everybody's safety, which I understand that you have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was about 3 feet wide, it was open. And so I'm half dressed, from the waist up I'm naked, trying to get changed. Officer standing almost there's a wall across from where I was. There was a nurse's station. He's leaning on the wall, so he's so far from where I'm at, and there's patients and staff walking by while I'm getting changed.
So you had to undress in front of everybody?
The
Okay,
curtain
so-
was left open.
Because the police officer said the curtain needed.
Well, he said and I understood that he had to do it for, I guess, his safety, making sure my husband doesn't have anything or I don't have anything, But it was humiliating because, I have my 5-year-old here, I have the curtain open, trying to get changed, I'm screaming in pain. So he got me dressed. We just threw on shirts, but I didn't want to bother with everything. And he had to lift, hoist me up, put me in the wheelchair, and the whole time screaming because it's it's excruciating. And it's debilitating pain. I can't walk. I'm 36, I couldn't walk. And so he put me in the wheelchair, and we started to go, and I reminded my husband that he said that I'll get discharge papers. That the officer said, well, you'll get papers. So my husband stopped, and he went back. I didn't turn around to see, but he came back with some papers. And he wheeled me around to the, the payment, the payment place. And we handed her the paper, and she asked, how we wanted to pay. And I said, I can't pay. I didn't have my card anyway on me. And she said, well, do you want to put anything down? And I said, you're going to have to bill me or something, because I'm not paying.
Yeah.
And then we left.
How much did they bill you for?
My insurance would bill me $50 as a copay.
Okay.
And so that's, they pay their part, and then I pay my 50.
Mm-hmm.
So we left, and we went to St. Agnes Hospital, and then they treated me like right away. They were-
Really?
yeah, I went in, same thing. I couldn't talk, because I was crying in pain, so much pain. And he said, "My wife's here, her back, it's radiating down her leg," and they
This is St. Agnes, and you were in Franklin
Square.
Square.
Yeah.
So they just treated you. You got in there, no problem. So what does that tell you? I mean, so obviously, what do you think about that? This doesn't make.
I don't know. I don't even know like what to think.
I mean, how do you feel right now? Do you want to sue these guys? I mean,
I don't even know what like my rights are. I just
yeah.
all I know is I guess the embarrassment too. It's like you have your 5-year-old and you're trying to and he's trying to console me because he knows mommy hurts all the time. He knows I'm always in pain. And he's like, "Well, why are we leaving the hospital, mommy?" I said, "Well, they can't treat mommy. I guess I said they don't have what mommy needs. We have to go to another hospital that can help her." And you don't want to talk. You don't want to tell your 5-year-old like there's a cop right behind you. You're getting kicked out because you're crying.
Oh my God.
So, I don't know. I just wanted like people to know like
Sure.
I just really never thought this happened. And I sit there and you hear all these stories and you see people who get restrained in hospitals.
Right.
For whatever violent behavior. And I thought if I was that aggressive, why couldn't you have just done that and treated me? You know what I mean? Like it was. So here we go, like another half hour to another hospital.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like I left my job at like 12:30, and so by 5 o'clock or almost 6 o'clock, I'm being treated.